What's up, you guys? Lemon Collects here. Today I'm doing another review. This time, finally, not on Marvel Legends for the first time on this channel. I'm going to be reviewing some Star Wars Black Series figures. So I'm going to be reviewing the Mandolorian in his shiny beskar armor, as well as the same figure but with a repaint. So we sort of got this sort of Death Watchy, but also sort of Sabine from Rebels sort of colour scheme from the Credit Collection series. So the packaging for these two figures are very different. On this one we get a sort of newer style Black Series sort of packaging. So you get the Mandalorian logo, nice picture on the side, this sort of strange sort of shape like there. You get a little window at the top. I get a nice view of the figure inside, the back, a picture on the back, and a reader. And with this one we get this sort of really nice retro sort of blister card style with the Canon logo down there. Obviously it's a Hasbro figure, but this is supposed to be the original retro styling, and you get this blister card with the classic logo, and you get a credit up there and a nice view of the figure, as well as a picture there, and another picture and a reader on the back. So I thought I'd do these two in the same reviews, as they're almost the same figures, just with different paint. So let's crack these open. So out of the packaging, here are the figures' accessories side by side. As you can see, there is not too much difference, other than the fact that with the Credit Collection version, we do get a credit here, which is just a piece of plastic, but it does look quite cool. I'm using that to make sure I remember which one's which. Anyway, so they both come with his rifle, I forget the name. In terms of paint, they are very similar. The Credit Collection does have a slightly lighter brown paint, whereas this one is slightly darker. The metal paint does seem to be almost the same, probably the exact same, and then the sort of greys on the scope and the main bit is also the same, and same down there. So the difference is, it does appear to be only in the butt of the gun. We get two jetpacks, which is nice. When I got the Credit Collection figure, in the packaging he's shown with the jetpack sort of behind him like that, so you didn't even realise he had one. I fully expected him not to come with one, so it is nice. We see they are exactly the same. Mould and paint are identical. In terms of pistols, this is where we get the most variation, but it's not too much. So we get a much lighter silver paint on the regular version, and on the Credit Collection version we get a slightly darker paint, as you can see. It's not just a reflection, they are slightly different. And the handle, the Credit Collection has a slightly lighter brown on the handle, and this one's slightly darker. So yeah, not too much variation, but a little bit. And yeah, in terms of going into more detail, the gun is very nicely sculpted. Yeah, even all the dots on the handle as well, looking really nice. All the sculpted screws and everything. This bit sticks out a bit too far for my liking. Obviously it's a peg, so it can attach to his back. But as you'll see when I put it on the figure, it didn't need to stick out that far, and it just does look slightly off. Other than that, the paint's great. Moving down here, the paint is still nice. Well, this isn't paint, this is just sculpted. And then again on the firing end and the electric poking end. And out of these two, I'm not sure which I prefer. I think it's this one because it's a little bit less glossy looking. But in terms of screen accuracy, I'm not sure which one is more accurate in terms of the colouring on there. Jetpacks are pretty nice. I believe in the show, although I'm not 100% sure, that the colour of the jetpack matches his armour a bit more. It's more shiny. I haven't watched it in a while though. Well, I haven't watched it when he gets the jetpack. I've started rewatching it recently. But yeah, it's not quite as dark, although it might be. I probably will double check. I'll probably put a picture up next to it now. And yeah, the other one's exactly the same. More for the rocket boosters, we do get these holes, which hopefully you can peg in some flame effects to, such as the one that comes with the Boba Fett. And the pistols look really nice. Sculpted details great considering how small all those details are. Paint's good. I'm not sure which one I prefer. I think I prefer this one, even though I think I prefer the darker handle, but I prefer the darker paint, as I think this one is just so bright that it stands out a little bit too much, and it looks so like pristine, not like weathered and used. So all out of the packaging, and these two figures look incredibly cool. So I can't wait, let's take a look at each one individually. So first let's take a look at the classic original beskar armor Mandalorian. Well, this isn't obviously the original Mandalorian because he does have his Jura steel armor. it is the actual version we see in the show. So this figure is really cool. Really, just having it in hand, it feels so accurate to the show. After watching it a load today, after he gets his new armor, and it does look amazing in hand as well as on camera. And he does come with all his weapons, as I just showed you. The pistol does holster into his leg right there, and you can pull this tab out as well to make it easier to get it in and out, like that. But you can do it without the, untabbing it. It's probably easier. You just sort of slip it in and go like that, and it does look great on there. Also, this weapon you can holster on him as well. He has this peg hole in his back. Well, I believe this is supposed to line up over the hole, and then you plug it through both. When it sits normally and sits like that, it doesn't sit. It sits over to the right, and it also sits too far down, so it's easiest to just plug the gun straight into the back. And does stick out a bit. At first I thought that's annoying, because then why even have this huge bit sticking out if it doesn't even go all the way in? But then I realised it has to be this long to fit through this piece as well, even though it doesn't. But also the cape, as you can see, the cape hangs directly next to it like that. Oh, unplugged again. Yeah, as you can see, there's almost no room there. The cape hangs just directly on it, and then it just hangs over his shoulder like that, which is accurate to the show. Obviously without that, it hangs far back and it's sort of less accurate, or depends on what scene from the show it is. So in terms of the jetpack, the one that came in this figure actually came slightly damaged, as you can see. I'm not really damaged, it's just sort of bad moulding, so I'll probably use this one. But in the show he has the jetpack with the cape on, and the cape sort of folds really neatly down the side of it. I'll just chuck the jetpack on now. It just plugs into those 3 holes. Obviously, as this one doesn't line up, it can be quite difficult. We just sort of got to try and line all 3 of them up and then plug it in, and it should fit. So in the show, it goes really neatly down the side like that, but obviously this is made of plastic, so it won't do that. So it can either have it on, which is what some people say, and it hangs over like that, which doesn't look great, but I guess it would look alright in flying poses. But you kind of can't have it off to the side. You can sort of have it like that, but that might work, but it does look slightly off, and I think it even looks definitely worse on this side. Maybe you could have it like that. I think that would look alright, especially if you moulded it sort of like that with a hairdryer, but I think you're supposed to take the cape off. And when this figure first came out, I saw someone say that this cape was supposed to be worn with the jetpack, because it's really difficult to get the head off to remove the cape. As I just showed you, you don't take the head off to remove the cape, which I think is what they were doing wrong. They said it's like almost impossible to get the head off, and I did try before I tried that, and I was like, oh yeah, you literally can't get this head off without pliers. But yeah, then I realised you can actually just really easily get it on and off without removing the head. I don't think it rubs too much, but just don't do it, loads. So that is, I think, what you're meant to do, and it does look really good. Or he doesn't have the cape like he does in the show. It does look really cool, and then you wouldn't even notice that he normally has the cape. You'd think that's the way it's supposed to look. But yeah, you want to make sure these go in as far as possible. Sometimes it does get stuck by that band, but yeah, it does look really cool. Like I said, it's not the same colour as armour. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be. And the detail on this figure is really great. The head sculpt is amazing. It's perfect likeness of the Mandolorian helmet. My mould is a bit messed up on this one, and it is on the other one, as I'll show in a minute. But it's not too bad. The sculpting is great. The mould they use is great. The black paint is nice. No missing paint or anything. A bit of a moulding line across the top, but what can you do? The armour looks really cool. That nice shiny silver beskar paint looks great. This belt across the middle is really nice. There's just paint detail all over it. The silver on the buckle, on these little the bombs he uses quite a lot, and on these refill cartridges for his gun, and the same up here, and the little clasp for the gun. So yeah, the armour looks great. You get this nice paint. Oh, is it paint or sculpt? I think it's paint, and the sculpt is brown in the middle, and yeah, it looks great there. These pauldrons look great. We get the Mudhorn signet on the right pauldron. and this one looks great as well, even doesn't have the signet. And yeah, the sculpt underneath also looks really nice. It looks really accurate. It has this little overlap, which it does have in the show. The colour's great. The detail's really nice all over down there. In terms of the arms, the detail is really nice again. And we don't get the paint. It does have red flashing lights there. I'm sure they could have painted that red, but it's not too bad. Sculpting is nice. I think this is side that has the grapple launcher. Hand is really nice. You get this nice sort of creamy colour with the blue arrow and the orangey sort of pale finger gloves that he wears throughout the entire show, even with his Jawsteel armour. And then this side, which I think is even cooler, we get his little keypad he uses and the Whistling Birds launcher that he does have on that left side, which is really looking really cool. Very accurate. Again, detail all the way around the side. Looks really nice. Same on the hand as well here. Again, like I said, the belt holster looks great. These sort of pads also look really nice, slightly different colour there, painted in there as well, as you can see, all the way up. Down to the legs, he has these nice armour pieces, and I think this is supposed to be, in the show, this isn't mud, I don't think, because in the show he does have a half coloured thing as soon as he gets the armour. I think what happened is they didn't have enough beskar, so half of the thing is Jawsteel and it's just sort of mixed. So I think that's what that is. It's not mud. I know it's not mud because in the show, as soon as he gets the armour and walks out of the sewers, it's like that. Yeah, moving down, he does have one classic Boba Fett looking knee pad. As you can see, it's that same mould with the little things on the side. I believe that's what he does have in the show as well. Yeah, the paint is really good on here. So I get these this nice brown paint around there. Down to the boot, yeah, it's a nice sculpted pouch. Would have been nice to get those painted silver, although I'm not sure if they are on this show. But yeah, the paint on here is really good to show that difference, and then the sort of metal sort of moulding through there. And yeah, down here we get a nice little bit of paint on the knee there. Some nice refill cartridges painted there, looking great down, and the boots also look great. So the detail all over this figure is really nice. Cape again, looking really cool. You get this nice texture to it, which is very nice, very realistic sort of looking. Obviously it's not cloth, it's plastic, but it's very malleable, and with a hairdryer you could sort of shape it however you want. And yeah, it looks really nice. Tied at the bottom, it would be nice to maybe get a bit of brown along the bottom, show sort of dirt, you know, that picks up on the bottom of the cape, but it's not the end of the world, and it looks really great on the figure. So in terms of fitting weapons into his hand, it is pretty simple. You just have to withdraw it from the holster. So yeah, it's not bad at all. You just sort of slide it in there. It's a little bit tight, obviously. It's quite new, and then you can just stick the finger in that hole there, and it looks really cool. Really nice and accurate to the show. Sometimes happens with figures is you just can't get them looking in the right pose as they do on screen. But I think, you know, like that, it just looks exactly right. Really cool. Yeah, I really love that. And as I got two, I can have him draw wielding guns. So in the left hand, you can't get his thing. He doesn't have a trigger firing finger. You can't get the gun in his hand. So if you have got both versions, or there's more than two, but yeah, you can have him dual wield guns, even though I don't think he does that. So getting his rifle in there is not so easy. I found the best way to do it is to put it in sort of there, and sort of squidge it in and sort of make it all the way down there, and it's a bit easier, and then stick the finger in there like that. It does maybe roll off with the paint, but it's really difficult to get his hand around it otherwise. I'm sure you can hold it, and he does have a nice hinge there, so you can have him point it as well. Actually, it's not easy. You can have him point it. It doesn't look good. I'm sure with a bit more effort I could probably get him holding it a bit better. It's not the easiest thing to do, obviously, just because it's such a long gun. But it does look sort of okay like that. And as you do see him lying down, it does sort of look good, obviously. Not quite like that, but sort of. I'll show you when I do the photo section later on, but you can get him holding it pretty well. Great weapon storage on these figures. But it's also very accurate to the shows in terms he does carry it on his back a lot, and the pistol in there, so that does look good. Obviously you can't have the jetpack and the rifle on his back at the same time, but he does not have that in the show. And another thing is, it does fall out more often than I would like, as you just saw then, but it's not too bad. So moving on to this figure, same figure in terms of mold, but different in terms of colouring, you know, paint and the sculpted colour. So that is going to be the sort of the biggest difference. Almost the only difference with this figure is the difference in colour. Firstly, he has this really nice bright blue paint. I should be showing these together a lot, but bright blue. Sorry, not paint, but sculpted, moulded cape, and it does hang over the shoulder in the same way. Looks really cool. So in terms of the head, the reason I say Death Watch is because they sort of have this blue head. A lot of the members, obviously not all of them, but especially in the show, do have this sort of blue paint. Not in terms of the splashes, but the one around the face, which he does have, but I don't think it's supposed to be anything like that. But the reason I said it's a bit like Sabine as well, because of the purple and orange and, like, you know, the spray paint, which she had a lot. I don't think it's supposed to be sort of modelled after any of those, but I think it's just sort of a general, sort of just nice, different paint scheme to have. Yeah, this figure does certainly pop in terms of the paint. One thing about this figure I have separate to the other figure that isn't to do with the paint is the head sculpt is slightly off with this one. As you can see there, the sort of mold they have under the helmet that's glued on isn't quite straight. It's not quite on this chin, so the helmet, look, as you can see, it's just not quite, just slightly wonky, and it's sort of annoying. You can sort of see it from the front. He does look a bit sort of puffy faced because it's not on right, so the sculpting doesn't come in as much. As you can see the difference there. It's not the end of the world. It is noticeable, but it's not too noticeable, if you know what I mean. So first get into differences, the heads are very different. So he's got all, like I said, the blue paint. We also have some pink sort of spray paint splashes, if it will focus, on the helmet, as well as some blue on that side. As you can see, very different to the normal version. Like I said, he has this big blue cape, which I will take off just to make it easier to see the well, this one's a bit harder to get off, but it's not too bad. Just so we can see the details a bit closer, and I'll do the same on this one as well. And this one looks like his neck on the left. His neck does look slightly higher, as you can see there. I'm not sure if it's just me, or maybe it does to you as well. But as you can see, you can sort of see more of the neck on that one. But I believe the sculpts are the same. Maybe just the neck sculpt's slightly different. Yeah, anyway, so on this figure, we get on this right sort of pauldron shoulder armor piece, we get a little bit of pink spray paint. As it said, like I said, it matches with the chest armor and the head sculpt. On this one, we don't get any of that. Yeah, I guess sort of pink paint grenades sort of went off on this side of his head, and it also does carry down onto this armor piece. On the right side, we get a little blue there, which matches up with that. And we get some nice yellow on the right pauldron, as well as on the right gauntlet. And we also get some sort of black splatter paint on there as well, same on the front and on that side. I'm saying paint. I'm assuming it's supposed to be paint. I'm not sure what else it would be. It's not going to be weathering. Although theoretically, it could have been it's paint on top of the silver base, and he's painted and it's sort of been worn off lots of times. But I imagine it is just supposed to be some sort of spray painty stuff. And yeah, these gauntlet pieces do look really cool, as I'll show you here. This one has a base sort of colour that's blue. Look, really nice shiny blue there instead of the silver beskar with the pink splatter paint on top, which I do think looks really cool. And on this side, we get a nice purple, which is very cool because it sort of breaks up from the blue theme we get with this purple side, which does remind me a lot of Sabine. And then we do get the sort of yellowy orange paint splattered on top of the whistling birds. And on the hands, instead of getting the cream and blue arrow and hand pieces, we get darker blue hand pieces and golden armor pieces that go around them. I think it's really cool, especially on this side with the purple. And then again, we don't get the different coloured fingers on these gloves. We just get plain black, which I think they should have done something else with, but I guess it might have interrupted the flow of colours a little bit. So I'm moving down, the belts are very different, as you can see in terms of colours. While he does have the the same refill cartridges painted in a sort of silvery. The silver is sort of slightly darker, and then this buckle is blue rather than silver colour. Obviously my camera will never focus at all, which is starting to get really annoying, but anyway, yeah, and instead of having that sort of grey in the middle, he has a brown and the blue on the side instead, which still looks really cool. As you can see there, he has the detonator things placed there as well. The holster is also a much darker colour, not darker, brighter, colour on the newer one. This one's a sort of brown, this one's sort of more sort of bright orangey brown, and that peg will not want to go into that holster, probably because the gun's in it. But anyway, it's a much lighter colour. Moving down here, we do get slightly different paint on the armour thigh piece. We get a black splatter over it, but we also get a different style of half and half sort of colouring. This one's much darker brown, and this one's much lighter, but then this one goes all the way up to the top, whereas this one has bits of silver there and there. As you can see, very different. This side as well, this one's got some black splattering on it, and this one is completely clean. Moving down, we get the same sort of pieces on there, except he's got a, on the classic version, he's got a sort of brown with the cartridge. This one's just black, but he has a much brighter knee pad there. And then the boots, he doesn't have the brown on there, but the whole boot is black. And one thing which is, you'll notice when I put them side by side, you can see there is a sort of greeny sort of colour on the trouser bit above the boot, as is mainly seen right now between these knee pads. Obviously they're the same colour as the rest of the trouser, but it's green here. It's not as noticeable if you're not really looking for it, but you do sort of see it when you do look at that green, and the difference is very noticeable, more in person than on camera. Obviously this figure comes with a jetpack as well, so you can just put that in like so, and then he has a jetpack, which looks really cool, I think. Sort of does look like a Death Watch member, if I'm honest, but yeah, obviously the spray paint sort of takes away from that. So in terms of articulation, I'm only going to look at one, as they are both the same mould, so they will have the same articulation. So I'm going to look at this one just because I want to keep the other one as nice as possible. I don't want to move it around too much and pushing the limits. So on this one, the head rotates all the way down, looks up that high, down that far. The cape, I don't know if it interferes a little bit with the head movement, so I'll take it off and try that without it. And it still seems to look about the same amount with the cape off as it did with it on. The arms move up about that high-ish, as it does bend the armour pieces a bit on that side, whereas on this side they seem to stay flat, but on this side they bend because of this strap. So yeah, it depends which side you're on, but they move about that high. Obviously you can go all the way around, but they are slightly not hindered, but if you have the cape over there, the cape will move when you move it, obviously. So we get a swivel at the elbow joint and only a single elbow joint. Might be nice to get a double just to help with that aiming of the gun, but yeah, I think it does keep in the design in terms of look of the figure better with one single joint. You get a wrist swivel, and on this side we get a hinge that goes down like that and up like that to help with the gun, whereas this one hinges the other way there, and this one also swivels, but this one is hindered a bit like that. This one does not seem as hindered. So in terms of a waist movement, we get a crunch that goes back that far and forward that far. You do get a swivel, but you will be limited heavily by this belt that goes across, and you don't really want to stretch that or anything. So yeah, he does swivel a bit, and he does pivot as well, like that. So he kicks forward that far, slightly hindered by the thigh armour and back that far. We get a thigh swivel again all the way around, double jointed knee, no ankle swivel, but we do get a forward back like that and a pivot as well. So yeah, the articulation is obviously same on both figures, so I only showed it on one, and it's decent articulation, not too many issues with it. So both these figures are really great looking, but I've got to be honest, Beskar Mando is definitely my favourite, just because, you know, it's how we see him in the show. It's pretty iconic look, and yeah, I just really like the sort of not too overly coloured design. but you know, it's still nice to have the other one. But yeah, I see why they went with the just silver look for the Mandalorian in the show, is because it just looks so cool, you know, so separate from all the other Mandalorians. Really sets him apart from the rest, and it's just iconic. So now let's look at some comparisons. So here they are next to a stormtrooper. Obviously, you know, come across against a few stormtroopers in this show, and it does scale pretty well. Here they are next to a clone trooper, because why not? In case you want to see how they scale next to a droid, here is them next to evil C-3PO. Here they are next to Safari Skywalker, because he's cool. And show how they scale with a vehicle, here is the Black Series Land Speeder. So yeah, they do scale pretty well. They could probably sit in it if they wanted to, but I'm not going to try because it would be a difficult fit. So yeah, if you'd like to see more Black Series reviews, let me know. I did used to have the Black Series TIE Fighter as well, but as anyone who has it will tell you, it takes up a shit ton of room, so I sold it. But yeah, here they are next to that vehicle. And I have many more figures if you want to see them. I might do reviews of the ones I already have, but I might just do ones of the new ones like I do with Marvel Legends. Now let's get into the posing. So yeah, overall I do really like these figures, especially the original beskar one. Yeah, the other one's nice too, nice to have a little change in paint as well. Pretty cool to get a credit. I'm not sure the value of this in terms of Star Wars, maybe like 10 credits, something like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so really nice figures, really glad to have in my collection. I'm going to be doing the Boba Fett figure review soon, and my Marvel Legends ones are also still coming as well. I'm not going to stop them, obviously. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.